Hi guys. So I was talking a little while ago about how God answers prayer and really just feeling led and encouraged to continue sharing on that because the more I think of it, the more I understand how God's goodness is misunderstood because of expectations. Well, I've seen that in my life, expecting God to do what we have in our minds, but God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are past finding out. So we normally would probably never know what God is up to or how he's going to answer our prayer. And the Bible tells us that God answers prayer, that God hears us, and he answers us. So if he hears and he answers prayers, it means that every time we pray, he hears and he answers, right? So there is an answer that comes, but we're not able to perceive what that answer is. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come. So the prayer really is for an understanding, a perception of how he answers, and because it's above us, it's beyond us. So we need a revelation and an understanding of how he works, to understand that when we pray, he answers, and the answer has to be perceived. Of course, there are prayers you pray and you receive that thing that you prayed for, but there are prayers that you pray that you don't see what you prayed for because you can't understand the answer. And I was reminded of this in terms of praying for a spouse. And I use myself. I've been praying for a spouse for over 10 years, and just waiting on God and believing that he would do it for me. Now I know God is hearing me because I've prayed other prayers that have been answered. So I know he is hearing me. But this particular prayer for a mate has not been answered in the way that I feel I want it to be answered, in the time that I want, and how I want that to look. And God has heard that prayer and he's answered that prayer, but I cannot perceive how he's done it, and I can't see the answer. And so for me it's it's something like, God, you haven't answered my prayer. I've been praying this for so many years. Why haven't you answered it? But he has, but I just can't see it. And I'm in a season now where I'm humbling myself, because it takes humility to really serve God. Humbling myself and asking God to show me how this prayer is being answered, how it has already been answered, and how am I to live in the season of trying to perceive the answer and what the answer looks like, and the full I'm careful to use the word manifestation, but the full completion of the answer for marriage. And so that's where we are as people, as believers in Jesus Christ, waiting when it seems like we're waiting endlessly for answers. We're in a space where we need perception, we need our eyes open to the things of the Spirit, to understand, number one, that every prayer is answered, and two, that the way that God answers prayer may not and does not look like what we want, and that's okay. And we need to humble ourselves and submit to the answer that he gives and how he's giving it, that's going to bring us a lot of peace. So I'm in that place of processing what it means to have prayed for a mate and a spouse, and the tension between it's not completed yet, so there's not a ring on my finger, or a man that has appeared or been formed for me that I can see in the physical, but that the prayer has been answered, and the request granted, because he's a good father. The Bible teaches us that if we who are on the earth could give good gifts to our children, or when our children ask for something, how much more God of heaven, he wants to give us the things that we desire and that we ask for, and the things that he has placed in our hearts to want and to desire. Do you know what I mean? So he wants to give it to us. So we've prayed, he's answered that prayer, and we're in a beautiful symbiotic relationship with the giver and the gift. I hope that what I've shared has kind of created some kind of just deeper thinking for us women as we navigate through our prayers for a mate, and the fact that that prayer is already answered, and the completion of that thing is coming to pass, and just being satisfied and content in that. There we are. God bless you, ladies. Love you.